welcome to Beyond the Ball with me, Collie. This week I am joined by Paddy. Paddy, what's the crack?
Oh, so good to be back, man. Missed you last week. As you know, I was in mourning because I turned the big 4-0, so I was seeing could I get my bus pass and, get my donor card because I know I haven't got long left on the earth and stuff. So, good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. Paddy, we're not going to mess around. We're not going to dick around. We're going to get him straight in. Mr. Manchester United from the United stand, Mr. Jay Daly. Jay, what's the crack?
Woo. Hey guys, how you doing? First of all, Paddy, happy 4-0. Ain't all that bad. Ain't all that bad. Look, man, you got your own teeth, you got your own hair. It's all good. Can't be too bad. Come on, man.
Well, I'm clinging on to the hair. My teeth are mine all right. They're all right. Well, look, 40 is the new 30, as they say, huh? Well,
they say about being 40, it's like age like a fine wine, man. That's what it's all about.
That's it, exactly. Thanks very much. Jay, really have you on all the time. This is great.
He doesn't usually get compliments from anybody. He's loving it. So we are watching United in the background. Jay, I don't know if you've had a bit of a problem trying to get one of the channels on. So we will be walking you through it. I don't know. You could probably try again. We have the kind of link and stuff there, so it's up to yourself. Okay, look, we'll get straight into it. What we usually do, and it'll be no different this week, is we always go into the questions straight away that were sent in from the Instagram followers. So we're going to jump straight into the questions section. Right, so I'll kick it off. There's a good few in, Jay.
Sorry. This is the first week Collie hasn't looked for praise about his video intro.
I was waiting. It'll eventually come.
Splendid work.
So look, we'll jump into the first question. I will throw it out there. So this is in from LBC10. What is Mark Goldbridge like to work on? I'm sure you get fucking asked this all the time. Same shit. Any funny stories or moment with him? So look, you don't have to go into too much detail. Anything that springs to mind on it?
Well, normally what I do with Mark is I'll send Mark a bomb on your private message on WhatsApp, knowing that he's doing a watch along, just to get a reaction. Then I go on to Mark's live watch along, knowing he's looking at the phone, and see the face, and you just look up, and it's like, okay, what I said, won't I say it? So a lot of times watch along, that's what I do, just mess with him. But no, in all fairness, Mark's a great guy. In the end of the day, he's the face of United stand. He's like, he's not a boss. We're all there to be our own self and play our own part. Obviously, I'm there because, historically, United have had millions of Irish fans going back since the 50s. Obviously, my grandfather went out to Manchester after World War II, as did a lot of Irish grandparents in that era. So I grew up with United in the house. I couldn't avoid it. And now I'm lucky enough that as part of my living, I get to talk about United. So, I've got a great debt of gratitude to Mark and the rest of the boys, because I get to go on after games, have a rant, have a meltdown. And, and let's be fair, the last 2 seasons, there hasn't been very much to be happy about.
Yeah. And I jump in on them the odd time, and I can just see the frustration from everyone. And it's just like, obviously I'm a Chelsea fan, Paddy's United fan, but I can just see the frustration from all the United fans from going to the Fergie era into what we're in now. It's just an absolute shit show. Just from the ground up, I think.
Paddy, you remember the Ron Atkinson era? The Ron Atkinson era was more entertaining than shite we're watching now. Yeah. Bloody hell. At least back in the Big Ron era, like Big Ron, to be fair, great tan. He wore some great suits, But like Kevin Moore. Yeah, exactly. Kevin Moore and Brian Robson, Norm Whiteside, Gary Bailey, Arthur Albiston, our own Frank Stapleton, all players. Big Paul, all players that played and literally would die for the badge. And now we're left this bunch of overpaid fucking prima donnas, and I'm sick to death of it, mate.
But do you think the United stand would be as popular if it was during Fergie's era? Because we'd be all happy. We'd be all popping the corks and the champagne every match. You know what I mean? It gives good content. So there's a silver lining.
I would gladly give up 500,000 of those followers that United stand has for us to win a title in 2 years' time. No problem whatsoever. But I take your point, and it's a very valid point. Ironically, the worse we've been over the last 2 or 3 seasons, I suppose from a content creation's point of view, it does provide more talking points. And, Man City, you got to give Pep and the way that club is run all the credit in the world. I know it's the blue side of Manchester, but they're winning titles. But it's become boring. Yeah. But it seems every single day, if you're a United fan, there's some leak out of the club or there's some new story. And it's become a bit of an embarrassment, to be quite frank with you, Paddy.
Oh, absolutely.
Paddy, do you want to jump? We'll keep jumping through the questions, because a lot of this, what we're talking about, is going to come up in the questions anyway. So we'll get through, and then we'll kind of veer off a little bit as well.
Okay, we've got Aaron Singleton, and he sent in thoughts on the absolute state of the club is in at the minute.
Okay, Aaron Singleton, my friend, how long is a piece of string? And do we have one nice? Bloody hell, mate.
Yeah, very open question.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the state of the club permeates back to, and Paddy will know this well, when our own Fergie had a fight with a very famous Irish horse breeder over who owned a certain horse sperm. I think it goes back to then, because we were on the verge of becoming pretty much an Irish-owned club. I would trace it back to then, even pre-Glazers. I think that was the pivotal moment in the club that a lot of fans that aren't as old as Paddy and I don't even know about that even happened, because a lot of fans have this real red-tinted spectacles about Fergie. Fergie had a massive ego. That's why he won so many titles, and all credit is due. But that ego made him make a couple of decisions that came back and bite him on the arse. For instance, getting rid of Jaap Stam, getting rid of Beckham in his prime. And he admitted in his autobiography he got rid of Stam in the wrong period of time. So I think that argument over that racing horse, name escapes me now, I think was pivotal to how a door opened for the Glazers to buy those shares. And here we are now, almost 20 years later, in a shit show.
Yeah.
And I think Ferguson got away with it because that man, I think, could win the league with the current squad that we have. It didn't matter what players he had on the pitch. They just played for that badge, and more than any other player could. He got the best out of everyone. He was a genius. For sure. Go on to the next one there, Collie, I suppose.
Right, next one in is from Toby31. What's your favourite memory as a United fan, excluding the treble win? I presume every United fan just says the treble win, because how can you look anywhere else? But other than that one, what comes to mind?
To be quite frank, seeing Brian Robson lift his very first league title back in 1993. Robbo was at the end of his career. I grew up as a kid in Limerick. Now, obviously, I would have vague memories of Robson, but as a teenager, seeing Robbo lift a title in 1993, that was, for me, that's my memory.
Daly. Paddy, on to the next one. This one's a bit of a fucking... I think you might know this one, whoever sent this in. Paddy, I'll let you ask it.
Jay Dixon _88. Keane, Maguire, McTominay, Shag, Murray, avoid.
I know this guy. I know this guy is. Okay, Shag, marry, and avoid. Okay, it's actually a great question, to be fair. Okay, not in an aesthetic point of view. I suppose Shag McTominay because he'd be easy. He just bend over and take it like a little bitch. Marry Maguire because Maguire's docile, has no balls, so he just do what he's told. And obviously avoid Keane.
Yeah.
Really, I wasn't expecting that at all. That's brilliant.
Great question.
That's good. Right, on to the next one. Vanish.19. Make your fucking names easier, lads. Do you think we should play Bailey because of his aggression and he helps us play a higher line? What's your thoughts on that?
I've been espousing the virtues of my man Eric playing till he breaks by for the last 2 seasons. But Solskjaer would not play him even when he was fit, because Solskjaer was in this Magaluf stranglehold, which I christened the busted sofa. But in fullness of time, it's been proven that even though Lindelof is physically weaker than Maguire, he's actually a better defender. And right now, the conduit in that back four is Rolls-Royce Varane. And he can make anybody look good. Varane's so good, he made Phil Jones look good in that one-off game. So I would advocate playing Boy absolutely beside Varane, based on what Vanish says, his pace, his aggressiveness, and of course, it does allow you to play a high line. And if Radnick is ever to go back to his vaulted pressing system, he's got to play somewhere pace beside Varane. Because look at, we could spend the whole show on Maguire. I'm wasting my time, but yeah, I'm a massive advocate of Boy when he's fit.
There was one incident, and I think it was coming towards the end of Solskjaer's career, and I think it was Maguire and Lindelof could have been injured, and I think he played McTominay centre half with. Now he wasn't a fully fit Boy on the bench, but he was still on the bench, and he didn't pick him, and that just fucking showed me the complete lack of confidence that he had in him, and I don't know why, because I genuinely, he actually reminds me very much like Rudiger. He's very aggressive, he's fast, he's decent in the air. But I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't know whether it was an attitude thing, but again, I don't think so, because Ollie didn't do anything else, but everyone else had the fucking attitude problems. So I don't know why. I think that was, for me, that was the final thing to say.
There has to be something, because like if you look at the central pair, the Lindelof and Varane are the best since Ragnar came in. Central defensive partnership. The only reason Maguire's in the team is because he's captain. I can't see any other reason why. He is shocking. One of the worst defenders I've ever seen at United. But I'd love to see Boy in with Varane. But what could the reason be that all these managers keep letting him go?
The reason for me is the £80 million worth of milestone that's hanging around Maguire's neck. A lot of the fan base have made excuses for Maguire. Oh, it's the price tag, is never going to measure up. Or B, it's the Euros hangover. I'm sorry, that's absolutely bullshit. I don't subscribe to any of that. You know, you were 4 times relegated player. So by virtue of that alone, you should tell the scouting staff, okay, this guy, he's limited.
Very limited.
You know, players cannot develop pace. I think a player either has pace at the age of 20s or they don't. Pace is something you develop as a teenager at that level as they develop. But in their 20s, I think their pace is set. Yeah. It's only going to go one way after that. It's downhill. Yeah. His lateral and medial movement is piss poor. He can win an aerial ball in defense and offense. But in offense, when he wins a corner kick header, it's like he's heading a helium balloon. So, so the likes of Murta and Woodward that negotiated that £80 million financial debacle with Leicester, they should have been sacked for that. Yeah. But now we have Murta is now in second, is still in command. Woodward is gone, but his legacy is there for many, many more years. And I firmly believe, this is my own theory, because Maguire is the captain, I feel he's got a clause in his contract that once I'm captain and fit, I cannot be dropped.
Yeah.
That's my own personal theory.
It seems like it, because no matter what he does, he just cannot be fucking dropped. And I was watching him there the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I was saying to myself, right, you'll allow one mistake, but when you just see the type of mistake he's making, where he's turned the opposite way and he's fucking spinning around like a ballerina, trying to plant his foot on the ground, trying to tackle, it's fucking embarrassing for him. This is the most expensive defender that has ever existed on this earth, and that's what he's doing. And
but there's been 2 instances of when Maguire was out injured, and say it was either Lindelof or Daly or Lindelof and Varane playing, and then one of them got injured, and so it was a chance for maybe Boyd to come back in, but he still brought Maguire in when he still wasn't fully fit. So that makes me think then, yeah, okay, fair enough, Maguire's going to get his game because he's the captain, but why isn't Boyd being brought in even at those stages where Maguire is still not fully fit?
Yeah,
that, like, it has to be an attitude thing. It really does. It has to be something.
Cast your mind back to the loss against Leicester.
Yes,
when Leicester came to town and smashed us open.
Yeah.
And I remember that game vividly because I covered it afterwards. 3 of the goals were because of Maguire. One was because of Matomale. But so you have a player there that's catched 3 goals against Leicester. We made Leicester look like prime Barcelona that day. Yeah. And Leicester have been proven this season to be not the Leicester we've known over the last 3 seasons. But
it's fucking mad.
He wasn't. It's mad. And again, he plays tonight. Now tonight, he's got his 2 babysitters in front of him in McShite. So two successive managers play babysitters in front of Maguire.
Yeah.
Now, I gave Radnick the benefit of the doubt. We all did as part of the group, and I just said, right, we're not going to go hard in him. And we said, right, by late January, early February, you're going to see his philosophy put in the team, his impact put in the team. But the very fact he's still playing Maguire, that speaks volumes for me.
Yeah. I've been questioning his appointment the whole time. Now, look, I know he's only a fucking temporary fix for the time being, and there is going to be hopefully a more permanent solution for his. But I'm not seeing this whole high pressing to the extent that he was coming out and saying that, oh, fucking Klopp was saying that I'm a great manager. I haven't seen any of them managers.
He realizes he hasn't got the players to do it though.
Yeah, I know that, but like even at that, like Jay's saying, playing fucking Maguire, have a bit of balls, drop fucking Maguire. Yeah. Like, in my honest opinion, with Fred, I think he can pass the ball 5 yards, but he actually might be a little bit more effective further up the pitch. He reminds me a little bit of Ramirez that used to play for Chelsea. He'd break the ball down and he'd pass it 5 yards and give the fucking ball away, run after it, break it down, give it away, and he'd just constantly do it. It was a vicious cycle. But I think we seen him the first game, I think it was that that Rangnick took over. I literally said to the lads in the group chat, I said, Fred should definitely be playing higher up. He played higher up. I think he won a penalty, and I think they scored from the penalty. I was saying, why not just fucking take a gamble on that, press higher. If you're going to go with it, just fucking go with it. Because it wasn't working before. Like, I just not seeing what he's supposed to be doing there.
Okay. Right. Well, a few more questions.
Yeah.
John Gal _5 has sent in thoughts on League of Ireland, and do you have a favourite team in the League of Ireland?
John, I've got to be totally honest with you. I don't. I've got to be honest. I don't follow League of Ireland because my Sundays are spent watching NFL. I'm a massive NFL fan. I played American football, so on Sundays it's been NFL. So for that reason, I don't follow League of Ireland. I have so many hours in a day. Yeah. So I don't want to lie here and say I'm an avid fan of Tree United down in Limerick. I'm not. I don't watch League of Ireland. I'm sorry. Let's just be totally honest with you.
Yeah. Right. Next one. In from Lewis O'Hare Jr. 03. How can Man United improve right now? CDM.
How can they improve right now? Well, obviously, the first thing to do is what we discussed for the last 10 minutes is Radnick needs to show some fucking balls and drop Maguire. And play anybody beside Maguire apart from anybody beside Varane apart from Maguire. And I think the second thing he needs to do is he needs to use Marcus Rashford primarily as a super sub.
Yeah, 100%.
Rashford doesn't track back. And that goal Stanton scored on Saturday, that was Rashford leaving a chasm of space that Daly couldn't get back. If you look at it again, Daly had pushed up, left the space. Rashford didn't go back. McTominay and jog back. And the only thing I think of the Rashford, he lets him play higher up the pitch and leaves him there because he's speed and he wants to play a quick ball over the top.
Yeah.
But that can happen in every passage of play. So for me, go on. Tell me, go on.
De Gea just pulled off a worldly of a save there, picked it out of the top corner from a header.
Again.
Like Dave saves again. Dave saves yet again. Yeah. On De Gea, it doesn't come into questions. Without De Gea right now, United for me would be mid-table at best.
100%. He's
and when your goalkeeper is consistently your best performer, that speaks volumes of the whole of your midfield and your non-functioning back four. But back to the question, I would drop Rashford. I play Elanga. Elanga will do what he is told.
Yeah.
I would play Sancho week in, week out on front of Daly.
Yeah.
I would drop Shaw and I'll play Telles. Because Shaw is another player who last season played out of his skin, had a bit of synergy built up with Rashford, but this season he's been consistently 4 out of 10. I start Telles. Telles is a much better crosser of the ball. And Ronaldo not scoring since December, I know there's loads of theories on it, but I think the lack of aerial crossing into the box from the wings is a major factor on why Ronaldo, you have one of the best headers in more football in the box. I'm not putting crosses because Rashford doesn't do it. Rashford will have will lose the ball, have his cross come shot where he goes from left to right foot. He doesn't cross it in. So I think you got to use your fullbacks.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. Regarding CDM, Yeah, United don't have a CDM. We have Matic, who could come on for the last 20 minutes and close the game out, but he can't start games. His legs are gone. Yeah. So I think United in the off season need to buy 2 CDMs. For me.
Yeah. Right, we'll move on to the next one, Paddy. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Right, that was me.
We have Joe of Ireland here saying, "How can I get?" Oh, Paddy, do you keep pressing that?
Well, that's Dave.
Sorry, Dave from Juve, yes.
That's Dave.
Sorry,
Dave.
How can I get as fit and look as good as Jay Daly? This wasn't planted, I swear.
This is Dave. Okay. Hey, look. This is planted.
Yeah.
Vicious product placement. Dave, will you at least send a water bottle to Paddy, at least, for God's sake?
Yeah.
Dave, you're missing a trick. Send the boys some water bottles, for God's sake.
Yeah. We'll clip that.
How can you get as fit as me? Well, first of all, I don't eat wheat. I don't eat dairy. I don't drink beer.
Fuck.
After that, just go and lift heavy weights.
Jay, I want to actually ask you why we're on this kind of subject about the competing as well. Like, so tell us a little bit about that. So I wouldn't be too familiar with kind of that side of things. Like, what does that take? How long have you been doing that? And give us your history on doing the competing. Like.
Okay. Do you really want me to bore your ass out with this stuff?
Yeah, I want to know it all.
Okay. Did my first show. I did my first show. Yeah. United are playing so badly that you want to talk about my career in men's physique. That speaks volumes.
They're getting absolutely peppered here by Brighton. It's disgraceful. It is.
Oh man. Okay, so I did my first show back in 2015. Went straight into national championships, and I was told by a judge that I didn't have the look for men's physique and was too old for men's physique. For everybody watching, men's physique is basically what I call the pretty boy version of bodybuilding, or for Father Ted viewers, it's the lovely lads version of bodybuilding. You have to have the hair, the teeth, the face. So it's not for the small, bald, fat lads. Okay.
That's me out.
Pipples.
And basically, in men's physique, you wear shorts as far as your knees, and the posing is different. So they go for how to put it, a more aesthetic look. So you're not a monster on stage. Basically, they don't want that. How to get into it? In essence, I retired from cycling in 2010. Yeah. Focused on my business, and then I need a new challenge. Yeah. I was always into, obviously, keeping fit for racing and whatnot. I always weight trained. Grew up watching Stallone and Rocky movies and Schwarzenegger, so I was always fascinated by those two. And I suppose, and then it was like, right, let's go and do a different sport. So I went from a 73 kilo skinny ass cyclist up to an 85 kilo men's physique competitor in 3 years. It took me to get to on stage. And so first show
you've won from, haven't you?
Yeah. 4 Irish titles and 2 Europeans. Jesus. That was after a judge telling me that I hadn't the right look, and I was told.
That's fucking.
And
more career there
than that give you the drive and determination to do it even more.
Yeah, it did, because you never tell me I can't do something.
Yeah.
Never tell. Like I was a kind of kid in school. You tell me that's not how you solve that problem, or that's not how you do it. I'll prove to you that is how you do it, because it's my way. Now, now, if I'm doing something and I'm on a course where this is going to give an outcome that is not what I desire, then I'm going to change course and then take on other opinions. But if I know my way of doing something is going to give the desired outcome, I'll stay the course. That's just my mindset.
No, good stuff. Good stuff.
Right, I'll move on to the next one. So Luke James Evans 01. Who inspires you to support United? I suppose a lot of the players that we mentioned previously there.
Well, no, my grandfather or my father.
Really, yeah.
As a kid growing up in Limerick, there wasn't much happening in Limerick in the 80s, to be fair.
Yeah.
It wasn't, let's be honest about it. Like, so it was my father, and my grandfather obviously was coming back then every summer from working in England. So, he'd be giving you all the stories. So then I suppose, the late 80s then started going to games a couple times a year. You know, the ubiquitous, the bus over from Holyhead.
The classic, yeah.
The classic bus tour.
Blues Cruise.
The classic bus tour, you know, as 12-year-olds losing your father outside Old Trafford, can't find them, search the pubs. the usual crack.
Exactly,
the usual Irish childhood. You know yourself, the usual Irish childhood.
I'll give you a laugh, I'll give you a funny one. I went to Old Trafford as a kid myself, and I went over to see Man United and Southampton. My dad is he's a milkman, so he's a Manchester City fan. Now, don't hold it against him. He's a Man City fan.
Okay.
So is my brother. So I went with the three of us went over, and we're sitting there, and it's half time, and I think it was 0-0, and the guy from the radio, Man United radio, whatever it was coming around the stadium. He was asking people what score do you think it'll be, and of course they got to me, 8-year-old, hadn't a fucking clue. I was like, oh yeah, no, I think United win, and they move on, and I was like, don't listen to them. They support Man City in the middle of the fucking Old Trafford.
Oh my God.
Coming over the fucking intercom in the stadium. And I'm up there saying, no, them two support Manchester City. And my dad's like, oh, don't mind him. No, yeah, I think absolutely.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
That was the last day he seen his dad.
Yeah. I don't know where he is.
Oh man, that was good. That's good.
Andy, I'll let you jump on to the next one there.
Okay, Noah Tedros. Who would you rather next permanent manager between Ten Hag and Poch?
That's the easy question of the night. For me, Poch is the Argentine Brendan Rodgers. I think he peaked at Spurs. At the moment, he's playing in a pub league in France, and I can only judge Poch on what happens tonight and what happens between now and the end of the season. But I don't judge him on what happens in France. I judge him on the Champions League. Mm-hmm. If you win the Champions League, then I'll change my views. Ten Hag, obviously, he's a fan favourite. That's what everybody's talking about in social media. However, if I had my choice, it won't happen. We won't get him. I would go for Luis Enrique, but that won't happen.
I've been thinking about this a bit and about who I'd like, and I would be Poch, and I'll tell you why. You look at some of the managers that really stick out to you, that done a job with smaller teams. So Mourinho with Porto, Klopp with Borussia Dortmund, and then you look at what Poch done with Tottenham. And if you look at Tottenham as a club, to get to the Champions League final, it must take a special manager to do that, because they've always been a flaky club. You listen to Roy Keane every time he speaks about them. Yeah, not shining with light in PSG, but I do think whoever the next manager is, they need to be given 4 to 5 years, because the best manager we've ever had in the club, after 3 years, there was banners up saying, "Tara Fergie, get out." So they need time and they need support, because the greatest manager we ever had in our club, and we let him down. When he was leaving, he said, give the next manager your support in your time. And the club, the supporters, and the ex-players, after 6 months, all turned their back on him. So, and we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. So I honestly think the next manager, irrespective of how they're doing after a year or two, we need to give them 3 or 4 years.
Paddy, I take your point, and it's a very valid point. The next manager coming in is crucial to what happens in this club, not for the next 2 or 3 years, for the next 10 years, it's crucial. Mm-hmm. But to your point, would you have given I was never a Moyes fan, to be honest with you. I think he should not have been hired at all, point blank. For me, the man to be hired right then was prime Jose. Jose was still prime, but I have a theory on why he wasn't hired. So why do you think he deserved more time? I'm interested to know that.
Because I think the team he came into never would have respected him, because they had Ferguson before him. He didn't get to sign anybody he wanted to sign. So after 6 months, he didn't have a team, his team. He didn't have his time to put a stamp on the club and on the team. And I think, if anything, he just deserved a little bit of time to do that. Because, look, what he's done at West Ham and what he's done at Everton, and I know they're nowhere near like the stature of Manchester United, but he's not a poor manager. But the players did not have any respect for him. For Ferguson to win that league with that group of players was a miracle. And when he came in, we all seen, Mata came in on the helicopter. We were supposed to be signing Ronaldo, Bale, everyone was supposed to be getting signed, and we didn't sign anybody. And then everybody just said after 6 months, that's it, get out. And look, it's been groundhog manager. When Ferguson left, an atomic bomb went off at United, an invisible one, and it's been like Chernobyl ever since. And nothing good has been able to grow within that squad because we haven't had a manager strong enough that has been given the time to nurture that squad and block out the noise from outside, the negative noise.
I'm of the opinion that he shouldn't have been appointed at all.
No, I don't think he was the first
Okay.
choice.
He wasn't the first. Well, he was Ferguson's first choice because Ferguson and Bobby Charlton did not want Jose.
Yeah.
And that season when Real knocked United out of the European Cup, Jose went on a real charm offensive. He said in his post-match that, and I remember vividly that for me, the best team lost. He was on a charm offensive. He wanted a job. And his agent even told him, his agent even told him that job was yours. You have the job. I'm putting everything. But Charlton and Ferguson did not want him to get the job. So there's a fan theory, Paddy, I don't know if you're aware of it, and the theory is that Ferguson's ego was so big that he could not countenance prime Mourinho coming in, been given 2 or 3 signings and carrying on, normal services resumed. So the theory is that he had to put in a lesser manager with a lesser, I suppose, gravitas than he had, knowing full well the players wouldn't respect him and would go tits up. Now, be it true or not, that's a theory I've heard from many, many fans in Manchester.
And then, yeah, look, there is some weight behind it in terms of you could think that is true, but you look at, I suppose, post-Ferguson as well, like you never hear him saying a bad word about the club or about the manager. I think he does it the right way, but you look at all the ex-players that are pundits now, and I think they're doing more harm than good for the club because the stature and the weight their word carries about Manchester United is doing way too much damage to the club and the players and the squad that are there. Because imagine somebody's constantly berating you in your job that used to be really good at your job in your club, telling you you're really bad, you're terrible. I don't care who you are. That's going to affect you. Absolutely.
Yeah, but Paddy, those said pundits, especially the English ones, and we know who they are, they never, ever call it the English players.
Yeah, never.
Ever. They get a free pass.
Like that little link or the little the leak that was announced. Yeah. No fucking doubt that they were English players because they would have came straight out and said it if they were foreign players. Yeah, and hiding behind that bullshit is lowers in my opinion of them anyway.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Right, we'll move on to the next one. And it's in from Conor Keegan. Thoughts on the recent? This is a good one. Thoughts on the recent post from Pogba and Tellez doing handshakes. So I don't know if you've seen this, Jay. They put up a video. Pogba released a video on his Instagram, I think it was about 4 days ago. And it's a video of him and Tellez standing there doing a fucking handshake and basically hugging each other like they're the best of friends while all the shit is falling around them.
First of all, I don't follow Paul Pogba and any of his media because, that's kind of shit that I would not appeal to me.
Yeah.
I judge a player by what he does on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think that Pogba Tellez social media thing, it's a microcosm of what's wrong with the club.
Yeah.
These players want to be social media superstars. Yeah. And Paddy, you've seen the pictures put out by the club on their own feeds. I know I don't follow the club either, but I keep getting tagged into stuff. And, we have a bad result. 2 days later, up goes the picture on Twitter, winning team, because they've won a fucking 7-a-side at Carrington.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
Like I couldn't care less. Yeah, I could like whoever. I'm sure they've got a whole team of people running that social media department. Yeah. Read the goddamn room.
Yeah,
but
I remember saying one after the Burnley draw and thinking to myself, you won against the team that just drew against Burnley. Don't be that happy about it.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
But to the point, then there's millions and millions of new fans all around the world that are half our age that love to see Pogba tweeting out or Tellez messing around with a handshake. They love to see the winning team picture on Twitter, Instagram, and they buy into that. Like, if you look at the FA Cup was worth 10 million. There's just as an aside. The FA Cup was worth 10 million to win. But United signed a new deal for the training kit with Tezos, worth 20 million per year. So you're Man United, and you can say, right, we have, I think they're up now at 50 million Twitter followers. By the way, I don't follow them on Twitter either. I don't.
So if you follow them or any of the players, it's all bullshit, and it's none of them speaking anyway.
So they can say, and so they can go along to their prospective sponsors. Say, right, we've got X amount of Twitter followers, we've got X amount of Instagram followers. This is our engagement. Yeah. When we post up a picture, then Pogba's going to put it out, or Ronaldo's going to put it out, and all of a sudden you're talking probably 100 million plus of engagement. And that is what a sponsor buys. Yeah. So the club is run as a social media sponsorship entity. Yeah. Winning trophies is not part of the raison d'etre of the Glazers. I know now we're going off point here and I got off on a tangent. But if you look at American football, Dallas Cowboys are worth $6.5 billion. The last time, and by the way, they're my team. They're my team. I love the Cowboys. They are, the last Super Bowl they won was back in 1995, but they're the biggest sports franchise in the world. Yeah. Now their owner Jerry Jones once said that he would give up everything he owns for doing a Super Bowl before he dies. So they actually want to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. But Jerry is so ingrained in the everyday running of the club and the team and the draft of players. He thinks he's almost the coach. And that's the problem there. But they actually want to win. But the vast bulk of American sports franchises, winning the Super Bowl or winning the NBA title is not what brings them the money. Yeah. So for the Glazers, winning Champions League, winning the FA Cup, winning the Premiership, that's not your revenue stream. It's your sponsorship. And unfortunately, the club is rotten to the core from that standpoint. So therefore, the club loves the likes of Pogba putting up his posts, or Jesse Lingard, or like Lingard played against Southampton after posting up twice pictures of him in the West Ham kit. Come on.
Fucking ridiculous.
And it's funny when you say that, because I never would have thought of it like that before. And I'm thinking to myself, why do they keep on going back to try and re-sign Pogba for that exact reason?
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
He's a brand in himself.
He's a brand.
It's nothing to do with the football.
Well, kind of going into it, kind of looking into. Sorry, Jay, just looking into that a little bit smaller. What you're saying is where like the owner doesn't really see the main trophy as the prize. I now see that as the players don't see that as the prize either. I see them wanting bigger contracts. They get their bigger contracts as far as they're concerned. They've made it. They don't give a fuck. They don't put the blood, sweat, and tears into it. They know that whatever happens on that pitch, they can walk around for fucking 90 minutes. They're going home to the same wages. I think all the fucking players should be put on a performance-based wage.
Collie, you've just completely hit it in the head. That is a huge issue with the club. Huge issue. Like, you don't see Liverpool players, Man City players farting around on social media winning team programs like, do you? Yeah. You don't see it. You just don't see it because they're run as football clubs. Yeah. And the be all and end all is to win trophies.
But do you
and
think
that's ingrained in the players and the management. It's not there.
Do you think if they didn't have Klopp at Liverpool, it might be a circus as well? Do you think you need a really strong manager to eliminate that?
100,000% yes. And the former manager, Ole, you've got to park Ole the player and Ole the manager. Ole the player, B minus. Now take away Barcelona 99. Ole the manager, Jesus Christ. If we're talking leaving cert here, we're talking foundation level.
With most.
But he was the perfect manager for the Glazers because he acted as the perfect Berlin Wall between us, the fan base, and the board. Yeah. Because
it was a fairy tale, like
it took such a long time for the fans to turn on Solskjaer, such a long time. Yeah. And there's still fans that interact with me on social media. I still believe he shouldn't have been sacked.
Oh, it's fucking mental. I used to do this every week with these lads, right? So Paddy is a Man United fan, and we have Connor's a Liverpool fan. We have who else have we got? Who's United? Chris and Lawler. So there's a couple of United. Water's a United fan as well. And the lads used to think that I was just trying to wind them up by saying Ollie should be sacked. And every week we got into this big argument about no, he deserves more time. And I said, lads, this man is not fit to manage Manchester United Football Club, the biggest team.
I'm sorry,
in the world.
just let me cut across you there. I thought you used to do that because you were the exact same with Frank Lampard at Chelsea.
Well, hold on, right? So this comes up as well. But I did, because it was the fairy tale, and as soon as he was sacked, I said to myself, right, maybe I was blinded by loyalty, and I was saying to myself, right, Frank Lampard, yeah, as a player, one of my favourite players of all time for Chelsea, but as a manager, yeah, done very well, and I think he probably took them to the limit that he could go with, because I don't think he's as experienced as Tuchel coming in, like, who obviously won the Champions League. We have to remember that is fucking Frank Lampard's squad that he won there with. Obviously, Tuchel came in and implemented his own little things on it. But I just thought it was, very kind of blinded by loyalty with that. And I think that's what you're getting with some of the United fans.
Yeah, they are definitely blind by loyalty. Like, I got flated last May when I slagged off Solskjaer. I called him a clown live on air after his capitulation in Poland after the Europa League. Yeah. I was like, get him out of the club. He shouldn't be here. He's a clown. He's a charlatan. And the abuse I got was just insane. You think I'd kill somebody? But I was just calling a spade a spade. And I said, I stand by it because I remind obviously United Stand, we got our own group chat. I remind them regularly. Imagine if we got Conte last May, and Conte had a whole summer to pick his players. I can guarantee you now, there'll be no leaks to the media. There'll be no players moaning to their friends in Sky Sports or whatever, because it'd be classic Italian mafia, the law of Ametra, the law of silence.
Yeah, and that's actually one thing I forgot to ask you there when we were talking about the Ten Hag and the Poch decision. Do you think you missed the trick with getting Conte in before Spurs?
100%. Yeah, he was my first choice.
Spurs went from the lowest running team to the highest running team in the space of a week or two. Like, if that's anything to go by, that's a minimum. That's a minimum your team should be doing, is running their bollocks off. And look, if the talent's not there, talent's not there. But once you know they're giving it 100%, you get behind them and you support them. But yeah, so you think Conte, you missed the trick there.
If you take you take running as one prime example. Last Saturday against Southampton ran 5 kilometers more as a team than United did. I tweeted at half time, by the way, lads, the team in red are at home.
Yeah. Look,
because we just weren't putting the effort in.
The exact same tonight's game. We were under severe pressure for the first 10 minutes at Old Trafford. I was kind of sitting here with Collie going, this is just unheard of. Well, not unheard of lately, because this is United. This is how United play.
It's the norm.
Pushover, yeah. But like, to see United at Old Trafford is just like being dominated by a team like Brighton is just so sad. So sad.
Coaching.
I'm gonna stop now before I start crying.
it used to be a 2-0 up at half time, and then United would kill the game off, and that was it. Played 45 minutes, just holding the ball, dominating the game, and if they wanted to go and score, they could go and score, and that's just not happening anymore. We've jumped off a little bit there. We'll jump on to, we've 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll kind of get into it.
I think it's our last question time. Lee Hurley, how do you rate Fred?
First of all, I say with Fred.
Player now, not Fred the Red.
Fred, please don't shoot. Fred, don't be anywhere near the box. Fred is great at breaking up play and playing a 5-yard pass. If Fred stays in his zone, he's okay.
Yeah.
Fred, when he plays for Brazil, because he's got Casemiro beside him, because Casemiro is a world centre back, Fred looks decent for Brazil.
Yeah.
Now, I know comparing international football and Premiership football, it's apples and oranges. Yeah. But you put the same Fred beside McTominay, Pogba, any of our midfielders. He's had okay games, but he's had shocking games. For me, Fred is a squad player at best. Have you heard a story about when Shakhtar sold Fred for 50 mil? What happened at Shakhtar?
No.
The Shakhtar director of football was so shocked that they got 50 million euros for Fred. He went out and he actually, I don't know the tweet or whatever, but he went up on social media. He went out and bought magnums of champagne for all the staff, because all they expect to get was around 20 mil for him. They got 50. Ed Woodward's negotiating skills.
Yeah, that's
prime.
best. That's fucking
There you
best.
go.
Right, look, that's kind of the last question there. So, Paddy, do you have anything that you wanted to? I know we wanted to bring a few things up. So,
yeah, I brought some parts of it up during there again about the atomic bomb, the invisible one going off at United when Ferguson left, and the club itself being like a Chernobyl now without anybody there to really grow anything useful as a team and as a squad. Who do you think when Ferguson left should have came in as manager? I know you say Mourinho, but I heard that he interviewed Guardiola in New York, but he refused it at the time. So your ideal manager, if you could take anyone now.
1-0 to United. Ronaldo just scored.
Ron just scored.
Yeah, good goal actually. Nothing gonna
Fantastic.
be. He's
Who
in
got
the
you
crowd.
assist?
I'm not sure. I didn't see who went to him.
Because I've got
Come
Ronaldo.
on!
I've got Ronaldo in my fantasy team. I need the points.
I seen you're fucking like 5th or 6th in my league as well.
No,
So
I was leading your league for weeks.
You were, yeah.
Yeah, for weeks. And Ronaldo has been misfiring. So he was on the cusp of getting transferred, so he was, for the double game week.
That to me, that just looks like the fucking Brighton player hits it to him. Let me see if there's an interception here. Looks like McTominay hit it across.
Let's keep the irrelevance then. There was a lot of people saying that all United's problems this season was down to Ronaldo, which I think is bullshit, because I think if Ronaldo had went to a team like Man City, he'd be extremely successful. If he went to Liverpool, he'd be extremely successful. What do you think is the root cause of the problem this season? Let's not go back nearly 10 years when Ferguson left. Right now this season.
The first thing you do, Ron comes in. Ron walks in first day. Lads, show me your medals.
Yeah.
And there's silence. Apart from Pogba's got 1 or 2, and Pogba's got a World Cup. But Pogba apart, lads, show me medals.
Yeah.
I'm your new captain. There's a new boss in town, and we're going one way. And the way we're going as a team is to win a title. Now, whether they did or not is by the by. But day one, he should be made captain.
Yeah, definitely.
He should be given the power on day one.
Yeah.
You go in, Ron. You take over the dressing room, and anyone that's pissed their dummy out of the pram, they can leave. I would put them on the bench.
Yeah,
it's your dressing room now. But Solskjaer hadn't got the cojones to do that.
No,
and that is a massive, massive cause. Ronaldo is not. Sorry, Paddy, go on.
Elanga just there, like, has done more in that 5-minute spell than Rashford has done all season. He chased the player down. He's after intercepting the ball with the defender playing out in the back, and there was a debatable red card there. So United are on the attack, but just talking about Elanga there, it's just fucking unbelievable work.
So that goes back to the start of a conversation about Rashford. You put him on the bench at best, and you start Elanga every week.
100%. I know I've been saying it the last couple of weeks as well. Rashford is an impact sub. Like, bring him on when everybody's tired. Let him just run. But you're not going to get running back, so just let him run forward. And Ollie should have known that. This is where I had the problem. Sorry, I know we're going back to Ollie, but
that's okay. Go ahead.
This is where I kind of really disagreed with Ollie, because him being the super sub that he was, the most sub player I think in Premier League history or whatever, didn't know how to make a sub and didn't know the correct timing to make a sub, which for me was just the most obvious thing. Sorry, I'm just looking at this here. The ref's gone over to check VAR, so I presume it's going to be a red card.
But if you look at where Solskjaer managed before United, he probably didn't have anyone to bring on from the bench, so it was never really clear that he lacked this skill. Yeah. But when he came to United, he seemed that Europa League final, it was just an absolute joke. He didn't make one change.
But when you're opposing manager, now I can't remember the exact minute, but his opposing manager had 4 subs on long before the end of the game. Surely logic would dictate, hang on a second now, they've gone 4 fresh legs, it's still 0-0, this could go to extra time, at the very least only fresh legs on the pitch.
Yeah.
Red card.
That's it doesn't take a UEFA prize to figure that one out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was looking at it, and I think the same as yourself, that was the first time I really looked at Solskjaer. The indications were there, but that he didn't know what he was doing. He was lost. He was absolutely lost. But to listen to you tonight, which I never looked at it, of how much the social media side of things from a business standpoint makes the club, they'll have Solskjaer in there as their poster boy all day long. They'll have the Pogbas and all doing their social media crap all day long. Because really, do they care about the results? We're fighting for top 4, but they don't really care. Really, like it's all about the bottom dollar.
Yeah,
like there's a 400,000 pounds plus per week contract dangling on the table for Pogba. That's been inconsistent at best for the last 6 years. Like Pogba, look, he's not my kind of player.
Yeah.
Okay, I would have sold him 2-3 years ago.
100%.
If he runs a football club, okay, you've been here. Say 3 years ago, he's here 3 years, right? 3 years, you got 2 years left in the contract. You're still worth 70, 80 million. It hasn't worked, Paul. You've come back. Thanks, but no thanks. Good luck. We want to sell you now.
Exactly, yeah. And they don't do that. It's a common thing, isn't it? They don't do it. And even it's the same situation at the moment with Maguire. Someone's afraid to pull the trigger there and say, "You're not the fucking captain anymore. Good luck to you." And that's it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you need to work for your place now. You're back to an
That's
average
back to
player.
the question that Paddy asked, alluded to. Sorry, Paddy, about when some fans are saying Ronaldo's the problem. The problem started when he came in the first day and wasn't allowed to be captain. Wasn't allowed to bring players up to. Well, I won't say up to his level, but come somewhere within 20% of his level.
Yeah.
Players then complaining that he's hard in training or he's a dressing room. It's Ronaldo. He's one of the greatest players of all time. Yeah. If you cannot raise your game to play beside Ronaldo, get out of the club.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Imagine being one of those younger players at United and Ronaldo came out and said, some of these younger lads don't want to listen to me. They don't want to take my advice. Somebody that's won everything in the game. If they don't want to do that, you just play your game and do your job. And they can't even do that.
Which is what's happened. But what's happened now is Ronaldo now, I think for me, he stopped trying to lead the group. Because he's tried to lead them, even out the arm. Because you say, okay, you shouldn't have to have the armband to be captain. But he has tried to lead them, I believe. They haven't followed. So he's thinking, well, fuck you. If you don't want to follow me, that's your problem, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah. And that's been prevalent of the last 2 months. Because his performances have dipped the last 2 months. They've dipped.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Can I just jump in, Jay? So I just want to ask you, right? So if you were to, I know it's a little bit off from what we're going with. This is kind of organized chaos here. So if you have 3 players that you can bring into this team and that are realistic signings for United for the summer, who are we talking?
I like you're saying realistic, not FIFA not FIFA signings.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. A football team is made by its spine.
Yeah.
So I bring in Zapata. Pardon me, from Atlanta.
Yeah.
I rate him highly.
He's a good player.
I think he made the Premiership. Yeah. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He's just turned 30. Yeah. People would say, "Oh, but he's only done it in Italian football." I don't care. I get him in.
Yeah.
Probably get him for 40 mil.
Yeah.
I would get him Bazuma. I've almost rated him.
Good player, yeah.
I would get him Bazuma, and if they could do it, I would get in Casemiro.
Casemiro's quality, isn't he?
Casemiro and Bazuma. Yeah. Then I will be looking at signing another centre back and selling Maguire. Yeah. That's my spine.
And how much do you realistically think you're going to get from Maguire now these days, looking at performances? Like, because surely it's decreased 30 million.
If you could get 30 million and you're running the football club and not Disneyland, I take 30 mil. Cut your losses.
100%. But look, like any player trying to get them out of United, no one will pay the wages. No one will pay Harry Maguire the wages he's on now.
Case in point, Martial. Martial was signed on a £12 million per year contract, $250,000 per week on a 5-year contract by Woodward.
Yeah, fucking hell, like Jesus Christ, like.
But I look at these players and they're saying, like, well, I'm not going to go for less money than I'm on now. And like, if they have 2 or 3 years left in their contract, I'm kind of saying to myself, from a self-preservation point of view, you can say for a love of the game, these have a finite amount of years to play football. If I'm earning this much money, like, I'm going to keep it for as long as I can. So you can't really blame the players. It's poor management by the club, I feel.
Oh, it's very poor. Because if you look at, for instance, Phil Jones. Now, I know Phil has had massive injury problems, but when Phil Jones was out of form, he was given a 5-year deal on $8,000 a week. And the business model, it seems to be, will get them in on long contracts to protect their value. In actual fact, it's having the opposite effect. It doesn't make their value because you can't get rid of them, so they're worthless.
Yeah, exactly. They end up sitting there fucking rotten. Like
it has the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to the manager situation, we know how you feel about Moyes. Are there any of the other managers that have come in after Moyes that you would have given more time?
Okay, I would have given Jose the tools to do the job back in the summer of 2018. Yeah. Summer 2018, Jose wanted Koulibaly, and he wanted Perisic because he needed a winger to supply Ibra.
Yeah.
He didn't get Perisic. Perisic was still prime then. And he wanted a thug as centre back. Koulibaly was perfect. He got neither. I think he got Tom Heaton as a fourth choice goalkeeper or sign holder or bottle washer or something. And that's what he got. I know he got another player as well, but his name escapes me. So I believe if Mourinho had been given a tooth to do the job, he finished second the season before, and that summer he wasn't given the tools. And you saw there then, Paddy, by November, Jose was pissed off. He was taking the piss. He started playing Fellaini instead of Pogba in midfield. He was taking the piss. Jose wanted to be sacked, I think, in the end, because he had enough.
Yeah, and I just hate being a Chelsea fan. I have an attachment to Mourinho, so I hate the disrespect he gets from United fans.
No, Collie, I'm so pro Jose. I'm so pro Jose. I always have been.
He's fucking quality, and I just think like I always listen to interviews with John Terry and Lampard and the core of that Chelsea team, and they're always like, he made me feel like the best player in the world. That like nobody could beat us. That's all. Like, and I presume he tried to do that with United, but then soon fucking realized what the fuck.
Do you remember
Spurs as well? And it was Chelsea a second time he done the same thing.
I was just going to say the Spurs documentary on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
There's a key scene when he pulls Daly into his office.
You're lazy.
And he asks Daly how old he is, and he gives the age. And Joe said, "Well, I'm 50 odd. Yesterday I was you."
Yeah,
and it goes by so fast. And he's trying to impart in Daly Alley. You've got to get so many years. You're so talented. Will you fucking use it?
Yeah.
And I've got no doubt Joe has had a conversation with so many players, but very few players actually listened. And you said there about John Terry and Frank Lampard, that Chelsea team would have ran through brick walls for Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, 100%.
So in the concept of Chelsea, Jose was your Fergie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
100%. Like, and it was just a thing I thought with Mourinho that his man management was unbelievable. Sorry, you're just watching Alanga's fucking juggling the ball around.
Did he then come into a generation of snowflake players that couldn't take his management anymore?
Yeah.
He absolutely did. And that generation of snowflake players, the dressing room, I think Zlatan got injured before that Europa League game, remember?
Yeah.
And he came back to fall in the season and he was injured for most of it and hardly played. And then he went off to LA Galaxy. The dressing room then became Pogba's dressing room. Yeah. And then you likes of Pogba and Lingard and Rashford all gravitating towards Pogba.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, lads.
Disgraceful example.
Is that going to be a dressing room where lads are going to go out literally and run their balls off for 90 minutes and cover 12 kilometers and 5-second balls and 8 or 9 minutes still be tracking back and putting tackles in? No, it's not. I think that was pivotal for me.
Do you think the new manager, whoever comes in, will have the proper structure in place and be given the time, or is it just going to be like another Liverpool story? It'll be 20 years before we win a league again. Do you have faith that now you see the likes of Darren Fletcher as a technical director? You see Ragnick now, that's going to probably be a technical director as well for the football side of things. Do you see a bright future for United with the next manager? Or
the very fact that Darren Fletcher, technical director, is sitting on the bench and he's in Ragnick's ear, and officially Mike Phelan is still official assistant manager.
Looks like he's waiting on the bus every game.
For me, Paddy, it's still a case of jobs for the boys.
Yeah.
I think the players, well, we don't know which ones, but I say we could, if we were not trying to avoid being sued here, we could name names very easily. But the players have called one of Raging's coaches Ted Lasso they've slagged off his coaching methods. Yeah. So the players, some of them threw the toys out of the pram because they last, and I termed it was Cam Carrington. There was two players in particular that were coming in late regularly for training, and they weren't even getting scolded for the fact. Okay, so those coaches are gone now. Apart from Mick Phelan, maybe he's a great man for making an espresso in the mornings. I don't know what he does, but so the players are slagging off Radnick's training methods, slagging off his tactics. What? Because you're made do some work. Yeah, made actually work a different system. You all remember I came out very early on. They started complaining because they had to drive home in the dark at 5 o'clock. They kept them for double sessions. You had to drive home in the fucking dark. So home, it goes back to your point, Paddy. Yeah. Your point about snowflakes. That dressing room, Paddy, is littered with snowflakes, and therein lies the problem. That's the problem.
But do you not think the manager as well? Like, I look at that question that was put to him, saying the players think you're like Ted Lasso. Can you imagine Ferguson that question being put to him? That reporter would have never gone into the room again, ever. He would have been banned for life.
The Ted Lasso was actually one of his coaches, not Radnick per se. He was one of his coaches.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but even to
speak, can you imagine back in the day, a player calls out Carlos Quinroz as Homer Simpson or whatever. I think there'd be a lot more than a boot hitting the right, wouldn't there?
Fucking right.
That's what I'm saying.
I was just
snowflakes.
I don't know whether you watched the Wayne Rooney documentary. Have you seen that?
Not yet. I haven't watched it yet.
It's really good, but I was just looking. There was one thing that stood out for me, right? And it was just obviously Rooney is a different fucking animal altogether when you look at him. But the team's walking out of the tunnel. When you look at the team back then walking out of that tunnel, every single one of them, eyes straight faces, not even looking to the fucking opposition. And now you see them all high-fiving, hugging their fucking international teammates. It makes me sick. It makes me fucking sick to see the day and age that we're in with football.
See when Rooney went to Everton then and Pogba came over to shake his hand before a game and Rooney just blanked him.
That's a mentality.
That was a team with all United players that went to different clubs.
Yeah.
I was seeing Phil Neville doing it, with Gary and stuff like that.
He did it. I think Phil Neville did it to Peter Schmeichel.
Yeah, that's right.
That's my favorite Man City.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And actually, if you ask a lot of Man United fans if to pick best 11 of all time, they pick Van der Sar over Schmeichel just because he went to Man City.
Yeah.
I'd probably be guilty of that myself, to be honest with you. Yeah.
It was funny. Jay, look, I think we've been an hour here, so I think we may wrap this up. It's been a fucking pleasure having you on. I'm sure we'll do more stuff in the future together anyway. We're always kind of chatting to each other on Instagram and might jump on a couple of Instagram lives and stuff together. So we'll definitely be in contact with you anyway over the next couple of weeks and months. So I do want to say a massive thanks for coming on. We really do appreciate it. Big thanks to Paddy as well for coming on. So lads, really appreciate you coming on. Right?
Not really.
Thanks, Paddy.
No, Jay, amazing conversations. Yeah, we really hope we can get you on again at some stage. Thank you.
Guys, listen, thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure. And it's great to do an Irish-based show with two of my fellow countrymen. It's been a pleasure, guys. So sincerely.
Thank you.
Right, so we're going to end it here. So anybody that is watching, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Make sure you hit the follow button, share, like, everything, all that good shit. So look, we'll be back next week. Paddy, who was our guest next week? Can you remember? Because I can't.
Absolutely not.
Lee Stacey. Sorry, yeah, we have Lee Stacey on next week, the goalkeeper. So look, we will be chatting to him next week, 8:30 Tuesday. So we'll see everybody then. Cheers.